guys seen the surge cage? It's this thing that the US military was working on that had like chicken wire around a suppressor. Well, that was wildly popular, but also wildly expensive. And that's kind of in the same line as what the APE is. This is all made out of aluminum, and it's a very lightweight option. Now, here's all the components of the APE, and you can see it attached to this AR-15. So let's just kind of start off there. So you can see how it's attached. What we have here is the APE coming out, and then a suppressor inside of it. And so it's going to protect the can in such a way that will also do a little bit of heat shielding, but it is aluminum next to a very hot suppressor, so it's going to be more like a handguard, which handguards also get hot. But you can also easily get to your suppressor on here because the overall length is in this APE device, right? And we'll get to that here in a moment.
A lot of folks ask me, how can I get involved in the firearms business in that particular community? And one of the best ways to do that is to become a gunsmith. Every gunsmith I know is just overbooked with work. It's a very good living. And so if you would like to become a gunsmith, you need to go to a gunsmithing school or become an apprentice for an existing gunsmith. But Modern Gun School is an accredited college that also works with veterans in the GI Bill, where you can go and get a degree from accredited college in gunsmithing and then go out and start your own gunsmithing business, which I think is a really great option. Again, throughout my entire life, gunsmiths have always been able to earn a really good living, assuming they have a really strong work ethic. So please check out Modern Gun School. I do have a link in the video description below.
And then the can screws into the APE and attaches to the hub mount that's part of the unit. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit more detail. So that's what it looks like on the firearm. So let's take a closer look at the device itself. It's intended to be pin and welded onto the end of your barrel. Optionally, you don't have to. You can put this device on a 16-inch barrel if you're so inclined, but it is intended to work with barrels, with pistol length barrels, to get that overall length out to 16 inches on the barrel, and of course over 26 inches in overall length for other firearms, bullpups like the P90 and things like that, with some additional help. But anyway, so here you have the different components. If you take a look at the back of the APE, you'll see a series of pinholes, and those pinholes will align with this unit, and this is what attaches to your barrel. So your barrel is right there, it threads over the barrel. There's your pin and weld hold. Now, you have an option here. You can pick this up where this collar is pin and welded in place, because it has to be. You cannot make this easily removable. That's the whole ATF shtick, is that you have to permanently affix this to the barrel through a pin and weld. So you can pick it up where this is already attached to the APE, and I'll just show you how that works. Or you can do it yourself. And the reason you have all these pinholes is so you can time it on the gun. So if you take a look at how it's oriented on this particular setup, that's this angled cut, which allows you to get easy access to the suppressor, put a strap wrench on it if you need to. You can orient that up, you can orient that down, you can orient it any way you want, at whatever angle you so desire. And that's why you have this series of pinholes and this adapter. So we're going to drop that in there, line up those pinholes. I'm just going to stick it together for now, since we're not putting it on a firearm. And then this will lock the whole thing together. Now, because this can be unscrewed, that has to be pin and welded, and there is provisions for that. Again, you can pick it up with this already pin and welded to the APE, and you just put it on. You can clock it by using spacers like you would a normal muzzle device for a suppressed firearm, or you can do it yourself. All right, and then the secondary pin and weld is right here for you or your gunsmith. Once this is screwed on, then you would pin and weld using that hole. So that's the entire unit. Now, this whole thing is very lightweight. I'll get a picture of the weight of this device, but it's not very heavy at all. Most of the weight is actually in this mounting system. The APE itself is super, super lightweight aluminum. So there will be firearms out there that this will not get you, like I was talking about the PS90, this will not get you to the overall length requirement that you need. Perhaps a firearm, like if you have a SBR kit for an X95 or a Tavor, again, you're going to have to get like a Manticore Arms butt plate, which they sell, which will then increase the overall length by a couple of inches. That will give you the overall length, because keep in mind, ATF doesn't just care about barrel length, they also care about the overall length of the firearm. Stupid regulations going back to the 1930s, but it's still the law, and you can get in trouble for it, and you don't want to do a 10-year stint in prison. So you do want to kind of make sure that you're compliant, especially if you shoot at public ranges. So anyway, that is the entire APE device. Now we're going to show you what this looks like on different firearms, because it's not just for AR-15s. Literally, you can put this on anything, even a PS90. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so we have a couple of different firearms here for you guys to oogle over with the APE on it. Before we get into that, though, here's the packaging. And so I'm sure some of you guys are going to ask, well, what if I have a 12-inch barrel or 14-inch barrel, whatever? There are different sizes or different lengths of the APE adapter that you can pick up. So depending on what barrel length you have, you're trying to set up, just pick the appropriate barrel length and you order the APE. So here we go. Galil Ace pistol, right? These were, I don't think IWI makes these anymore, but there's a bunch of them out there. And this one has right around a 13-inch barrel on it. And you can see now it has a proper stock. And that's because you can see the pin and welded APE system on it. Now this is a little blast diverter, if you will. And this is also from Cryptid Hardware. And you can just use an armorer's wrench to tighten this on so it won't back off, but it will mount to the APE adapter. So this is for people that are planning to buy a suppressor. They get the APE, they get the gun all set up, and they want something in there while they're waiting for their can to transfer to them. But even that's really, really fast these days, generally speaking. Like at Copper, we'll see transfers come in a couple of weeks to a month tops. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time to get cans transferred to you, but this gives you an option. For whatever reason you don't want to run a can on it, you can put that on there. So you can see that this one is also oriented with that cut downward. And then over here, and this is just to give you an idea of the different applications for it, right? This is a PS90, and you can see the APE is on it, but this gun is so tiny, so tiny, even with the APE making the barrel 16 inches, the gun with its factory butt plate is not the overall length necessary under ATF regulations, right? So it is not 26 inches from here to here. So this is just a prototype spacer that was manufactured to put on the PS90 to get the overall length good with the barrel length as well. So this isn't something that's for sale, I don't believe. This is just something to make the gun legal, but there's companies out there, and probably Cryptid Hardware at some point, perhaps. I guess if they sell enough of these for people wanting PS90 adapters, they would probably make something. But this goes back to what I was talking about when you look at the X95s, like Manticore Arms. I've used their butt plates, right? The factory butt plate on an X95 is just flat. And when you want to meet overall length requirements because you're messing with barrel length or something like that, they have the little extra spacer that you put on. And theirs is different because it kind of arches back, so the overall length goes to the tip here and it kind of cuts back. So it looks a little bit better. But again, this is just a 3D printed prototype. So that's what it looks like on the PS90. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is just a standard hub adapter. So a lot of the cans these days, I'm not going to be able to get that off. There we go. A lot of the cans these days use a standard hub adapter. It's nice that we finally got to some standardization in the suppressor world. Not all the way there yet, but this is your standard hub adapter. So a lot of modern silencers will screw right onto this. You just unscrew the rear end of the can, the cap that's on there, the OEM one, and then the whole can will just screw on this new standardized adapter. So that's how it all comes together. Now, when it comes to balance questions and things like that, how does it affect the balance of the firearm? Guys, this doesn't add a whole lot of weight to the end of the firearm, and you're putting a can on there. So you can run titanium cans, you can run stainless steel cans. There's all sorts of different types of cans out there. So that balance is going to change depending more or less on what silencer you choose versus just having the APE on there. The APE's not going to change that dynamic a whole lot. So yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. And this is something I would have definitely explored had it been available when I was playing with my PS90 a long time ago. I just went ahead and SBR'd mine. But I do run a can on it, and that is super handy, being able to do that. So this is a Ventum suppressor, and you can see what I'm talking about here. This is the hub mount, and inside there you can see where the baffles begin. And that'll become important here when I talk about the next product I have here from Cryptid Hardware. But I just wanted to show you guys really quickly, taking this Ventum test sample here of the APE, and you can see how it just screws on like that. Now there's another product from Cryptid Hardware called the Mandrake, and this is it here. And we have a couple different flavors of it, and these will be available with different thread pitches and stuff like that. This is for 1/2x28, but this is a device that can be pin and welded to your firearm if you want it to be, but it doesn't have to be. This is intended to be a single solution to being able to use hub mount adapters with your suppressor. But when you unscrew the suppressor, it'll leave this on the rifle, and then it has a compensator and brake built into it. So again, you would time this in such a way that the hole up here, which vectors gas up and the barrel down, is oriented upwards, and then you have the brake here that's going to reduce muzzle rise and recoil. But here's another version of it. It's definitely for somebody with, say, a 14.5-inch M4 style barrel. This one has a longer spacer on it. This will get you to the overall length that you need to be to not have it as an SBR on a military type barrel. And there's your pin and weld hole. So again, it will do the same thing. You get that affixed to the end of your barrel, and then you can put your suppressor on. You take your suppressor off, you have a compensator on the end of your barrel. So those are the products from Cryptid Hardware. If you guys have any questions about any of the products, the APE or the Mandrake, you can ask those questions down below. I do try to stick around for the first couple of days after a video goes live to answer any questions you guys may have. If you'd like to support us here at the Military Arms channel so we can continue to bring you content like this, please consider becoming part of our Patreon family. There's a link in the video description below. Also, right here on YouTube, you got the thanks and subscribe button underneath the video player you're watching right now. You can hit either one of those buttons and support us right here on YouTube in the age of demonetization. Thank you for 17 years of support. Swing by, check out Copper Custom, and we'll talk to you guys soon.